on this government.
I call the honourable member Jamie Lee Ross.
Mr. Speaker, I take absolutely no shame in standing up and supporting this bill this afternoon, Mr. Speaker. I take absolutely no shame in supporting this bill because this is about New Zealand getting ahead of a potential problem in the future. Mr. Speaker, many of the criticisms that we've heard this afternoon, many of the concerns that have been levelled at us this afternoon were the same types of arguments that were made in Australia in years gone past. And you know what? If the Australian government of the past had have listened to the types of criticisms, listened to the types of concerns and done nothing, then they would have an even bigger problem than what they've got today. Mr. Speaker, the fact of the matter is that we are a nation that is desirable for people to come to. We have a beautiful country. We have natural fauna and flora. We have great seaside areas to live in. We have great environmental areas that people want to live in. We have good education systems. We have good health systems. And naturally, people want to come and live in New Zealand. And I completely understand that. I have an electorate where half of the population of my electorate was not born in New Zealand. There are a lot of migrants in my electorate, a lot of people in my electorate who have worked hard, done the right thing, gone through the right processes to come to this country. And it's absolutely unfair on the people that do work hard, do the right thing, do come to New Zealand through the right channels to see people having the opportunity to come here illegally and getting fast-tracked and jumping through the queue. And sure, we may not have a huge number of them coming just yet. But should we stand up? Should we sit back and do nothing? Should we just say, it'll be okay, we won't deal with it, we won't get ahead of the issue because this may never happen? Well, the fact of the matter is, people will want to come here. This happened in Australia. We are very close to Australia. Our nearest neighbour is Australia, and they do have this problem. And if we sit back, do nothing, then we'll have exactly the same problem. But Mr. Speaker, what is quite interesting to see, I disagree with a lot of what the Green Party stands for and what they believe in, but you have to say at least they oppose things on principle. The other guys over the other side, they actually don't know why they're opposing it. They just oppose things for the sake of it. They're just opposing it because they are the opposition and they think the only thing they can do to get some attention is to oppose things. They seem to think that we have a case here where we're trying to avoid distractions. Well, their leader needs some distraction because he's just not getting anywhere at all. And so, Mr. Speaker, if they're wanting to accuse us of trying to, avoid distractions, well, they are looking for some relevance for their leader. Where's he been? What's he had to do in the last few weeks? Who is David Shearer? Because most people around the country don't know who he is. So I don't accept the criticism they've made because they've got a far bigger problem on the other side. Mr. Speaker, it is depressing to hear the opposition's comments today. It is depressing to hear them say that we shouldn't have this legislation before the House because there is no problem. We need to show that New Zealand's not going to be a soft touch. We need to show that good people who work hard to come here through the proper channels, who do follow the law and who do recognise New Zealand's law, they should be rewarded and they shouldn't be in a position where people who can queue jump do so. Now, I perfectly accept that there are a lot of people in the world who have had a lot of bad things done to them. We can't get away from that. It is a fact. But, Mr. Speaker, we aren't a country that can take everybody. We aren't a country that can sit back and accept every person who's had something bad happen in their lives. And sure, the people that come here on boats, the people that try and get through the system without going through proper processes, the people who seek asylum coming here on boats, they do have a lot of genuine problems that they've had to face with in their lives. But should they be fast-tracked over and above the good people who go through the proper process? Well, look at that heckling from the other side. Look, she's got nothing interesting to say. The opposition's had no real reasons to be opposing this bill. They're just opposing it for the sake of opposing it. That's all they do. They want to know why they're so low in the polls, because all they do is just oppose things for the sake of it. I take no shame in standing in support of this bill, Darian Fenton. You know, people often ask me, what's Darian Fenton like? I say, oh, she's a unionist, but she's actually a nice person. I'm starting to change my mind after this, Darian. Mr. Speaker, this is legislation that we need to get ahead of the game, to make sure we're prepared, to make sure New Zealand is not seen as a soft touch. We will, in the future, have problems if we do nothing. That opposition, they want to see nothing done. They don't want to tackle the problems that New Zealand has and potentially will have in the future. This is a government that wants to get ahead of the game. I congratulate Nathan Guy, thank him for bringing this legislation to the House, and I'm looking forward to the Select Committee process.
Well done. The Right Honourable Winston Peters. Point of order, the Honourable David Cunliffe.
Mr. Speaker, as a former immigration minister, I take offence at several of the references in that speech. The first is to queue jumping, sir, which does not apply to the asylum process.
Order. The member, if he had a point of order, brings it up at the time that it's said, not after the event. I'm calling the Right Honourable Winston Peters.
Mr. Speaker, sometimes